This video is sponsored by the Magic Candle Company. Visit the Magic Candle Company and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your purchase. And trust me, with the holidays coming up, you're gonna want to stay tuned until the end of the video. Just take my word for it. Bonjour, aimez-vous la Phantom Manor? Bon, c'est d'où cela que part cette video. I'm pretty sure that was like 91, the 12% correct. Phantom Manor, the crown jewel of Michael Eisner's crown jewel, Euro Disneyland, opened with the rest of the park in 1992. Unfortunately, while it wouldn't save the park from the turmoil it would face in the following years, the attraction itself was pretty darn good. A more Baroque take on the US's Haunted Mansion attractions, but the Ravenswood family are anything but Baroque. No, they're actually very wealthy. I've made videos in the past about the history and story of Phantom Manor, but for those of you who are new or need a refresher, this old guy Henry found some gold inside Big Thunder Mountain and founded a mining company to get the rest of the gold out, and a town around the mountain called Thunder Mesa. The spirits inside the mountain were none too happy about this mining taking place though, so they caused a great earthquake to descend upon Thunder Mesa, killing most of the residents along with the old guy Henry and his wife. Before this all happened, though, they had a beautiful daughter named Melanie who was courted by many men before settling on one and deciding to marry him, although Henry did not like this very much because he was a grumpy old guy who was super rich. Very miserly of him. In the wake of the earthquake that killed half the town and her parents, Melanie decided to get married, and on the day of the wedding, the groom mysteriously never showed up. This is because Henry, now reborn as the ghostly Phantom, had lured him up into the attic and hung him. And now Melanie's spirit forever wanders the halls of Ravenswood Manor, looking for her lost love, all the while being tormented and laughed at a lot. I mean, this guy, must be hilarious because he's laughing all the time, by the Phantom himself, Henry Ravenswood, which is where we come in. We are now going to go look and to take a tour or wander through the mansion. I don't know how we got in, but what is it that awaits us in Ravenswood Manor? Will we finally be able to help put Melanie's spirit to rest, or will we join the 999 happy haunts? What say you we find out together? And so today I thought I would take another look at Phantom Manor as if we were both there writing it together. And so, without any further ado, and with help from my good friend over at LMG Vids, go check out LMG Vids' channel. It's going to be right here. Should be popping up somewhere, and it'll be at the end of the video. Go watch their videos. He has a ton of Disney ride-throughs and park tours, not just Disney too, but it's also overseas parks and everything you could think of. But right now, Phantom Manor from 2019, when it was new and refurbished. So, Phantom Manor, I'm going to start the video right now. Alright, here we have the queue. So the queue extends outside. If you don't want me talking over this whole thing, I'll link just the whole ride through in the description down below. But there we have the exterior, based off of an old school in Arizona, I believe. I'll put the caption down here, whatever the actual school is, but it was an old schoolhouse. The Psycho house also sort of looks like Phantom Manor if you've ever seen the movie Psycho. Now this entryway is very similar to the Haunted Mansion. It's even got the chandelier, but then you have that portrait of Melanie and her father Henry right there on the wall, similar to Master Gracie. That's sort of the equivalent that we would see in the States. And watch this effect, right? So you have the portrait on the wall. The walls are all dilapidated and scary and gross, but then, as Vincent Price, the master of horror, begins to talk, the room refreshes. It's new, and the portrait changes to Melanie and the Phantom. You hear her singing. It's very spooky, and I love it. I think they should do something similar with the foyer in Disneyland or Walt Disney World too, sort of transitioning from like an abandoned foyer to a new, refreshed one. Or even the reverse, you know? Because Disneyland, you know, it's nice on the outside and sort of dilapidated on the inside. Have it be nice in the foyer when you walk in to fit in with the outside of the mansion, and then turn dilapidated before you enter the stretching room. That would be really cool. Alright, we have here the stretching room, and no dynamite, no tombstones, no Sally Slater and the alligator, no, instead we have Melanie. Sorry, I forgot her name for a second. Melanie and her husbands, her suitors, not her husbands. They didn't quite get to tie the knot, and you'll see why in a second. We have the classic gargoyles from the Haunted Mansion. Everything is pretty similar, aside from the actual portraits and what's behind the scrim at the end. But you'll see that in a second. So you can see here all of the terrible fates that befell her fiancés or suitors. That guy, I believe, was a member of SEA. He went over a waterfall. One of them was. I believe it was him. This guy died a horrible death. They all have names. I'm a fake Haunted Mansion fan because I can't remember all of them exactly. And then we pan up to the rafters, as is tradition. There you have it. That is way dark, okay? It's super cool, though. It's the Phantom holding the noose, right? And the one of the suitors, or her groom, who she ended up actually getting engaged to, hanging from that noose. Sort of like the ghost host. And then, as we do in Disneyland and just Disneyland, we exit out into a changing portrait hallway. I'm not sure if the gargoyles whisper here in Paris, or if that's an Orlando exclusive. They might. Let's see if we focus in on some of these changing portraits. These are new with the mansion. You can see Henry Ravenswood coming up on Big Thunder Mountain in this one, and you can see the spirit of the Thunderbird in the sky there. Super, super cool. The backstory to the mansion, of course, precedes my live narration. There we have a picture of Henry himself transforming before your very eyes with a strike of lightning into the Phantom ghost ship, just like Disneyland and Disney World. And then we have the Duel, a reference to the Haunted Mansion. There it is. And then at the very end of the hallway, you will see Melanie herself hung up on the wall there. The biggest portrait in the hallway for sure, instead of the busts that follow you as you look. But I feel like this is the exact same like architecture as the Disneyland hallway, because you know you go around the corner here, and you have the loading bay. It looks like the same sort of layout. And over here at Disneyland on your right, you would have April through December, but instead you have the bust that follows you. And then we go past what would be the cat. Instead, looks like just a mirror on the wall. I'm assuming it's so cast members can see if somebody, I don't know. They have mirrors. If you ever go to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, they have mirrors on the unload station. They might have it at the load station too. I haven't checked. But they have mirrors to make sure that everyone's out and everyone's safe, and the Doom buggies are empty before they go back to the load station. So there on the balcony, the first figure we see in this attraction, besides, you know, the two up in the rafters. Really close, really cool. I thought they were going to do something similar to this when they were refreshing the Haunted Mansion there during the shutdown. If you remember, it was a very big overhaul. They covered the whole thing in scrim. They added a couple things, right? We know that, April through December. But I thought they were going to do something like that, where it was a foyer, grand windows, without Melanie probably. But they ended up not doing that. No actual changes to the ride itself, just mostly outdoor and pre-show elements. The amazing score. There we have the living suit of armor, given its own little cubby here, more so than at Disneyland or Walt Disney World. It's sort of its own set piece. And then we have the endless hallway. So I guess that's just to make the endless hallway scene belong more to Melanie there at the end, instead of having you see the knight on the right and then the candlestick down the hallway, as it is at Disneyland. I'm drawing a lot of comparisons. Instead of the coffin, you have the piano. This isn't going to be a compare and contrast video. I just like to compare it, just me personally. This is all pretty much the same until the ballroom anyway. So, Phantom Manor, it's the same name in French and English. It's interchangeable, it makes sense. There's the classic wallpaper. And it was more or less the same since the opening of the park up until very, very recently. And I say recently, 2018, 2019, when they redid the attraction with a new, not new storyline, but expanding on the old storyline and just sort of filling the blank spaces in, because it was sort of a fan theory back in the day that Henry Ravenswood was the Phantom. And now we know for sure that he is because it's in the ride. Leota does not float in this version. That is, her table does sort of rotate around, levitating. It wouldn't be a Haunted Mansion attraction without stopping halfway through, though. Sometimes multiple times. There we go. Okay, we're good. I'm not sure if Kim Irvine, she is the daughter of Leota Toombs, who was the face for the original Leota in the Haunted Mansion. I know she does it for Haunted Mansion Holiday, the face of Madame Leota. She returned to play that part. I don't know if she does it in Phantom Manor. She might. I do not believe Kim Irvine does. I think it's someone else completely. Like I said, this ballroom scene is pretty close to, the same, except for you see Phantom and Melanie up there on the wall. It's really a testament, I think, to how well the mansion has aged, that they decided to keep it mostly the same when they brought it over to Paris. Essentially untouched. I mean, it's a different storyline, right? But all of the key beats of the attraction are still there. You have the stretching room, you have the changing portrait hallway, you have the endless hallway, you have Leota, you have the ballroom, the attic, and then the graveyard. So it's all still there. It's a formula that really works, and I don't know if it would work out of that order, That's something we don't see at Disneyland in the attic scene. That's like a fireplace with a green flame. That's neat. That's a really cool effect. As you can see there, the Phantom is appearing behind her in the mirror as she's looking. Really, really neat. Let's see if we can see it again. Or if we're at the wrong angle. The Phantom reappears in the mirror every now and then over her shoulder, sort of like looking over her. Really, really neat effect. I don't know how they do it. It's probably really simple. It's the Haunted Mansion, so it's got to be just mirrors, right? That's the secret. It's mirrors and glass and reflections. A new zombified version of the Hellhound we see in the Haunted Mansion. He's a ghost, a skeletal, like, ghost dog, though. That is like a rotting corpse. Speaking of rotting corpses, this version of the graveyard is a lot more traumatizing to young children, because as you can see, think Pirates of the Caribbean with all the skeletons, except they're right next to you and they're moving toward you. A bit intense. And then you have classic, Only 4 busts, though, instead of 5. So it's weird, because they are, it is fun and it's happy, but they're not like cartoon ghosts, right? They're actual, like, scary, spooky skeletons. Here comes an Easter egg on the left. We have the mayor. If you heard that, it's Paul Frees, the original ghost host. And the face sculpt of his figure is that of Dreamfinder. And we just passed the ticket taker there, who was a sculpt of the Hatbox Ghost. In case you wanted to know. A little Easter egg there for you. And here we have, I believe these people are all ghosts. They're kind of green, but they strike me as very lifelike. They don't look like ghosts the same way the Haunted Mansion ones do. I don't know if that's because their clothes look real. I don't know if you noticed, but in the Haunted Mansion, all of their clothes are the same color as like their bodies, so they appear to be, sort of ghosts. These are like ghosts wearing clothes, or they're alive. Here we have some crypts. Super, super creepy compared to the Haunted Mansion. And then, of course, no hitchhiking ghosts here. Instead, Melanie hitches a ride home with us. And of course, it's that physical animatronic following your Doom buggy instead of the screens, which I appreciate greatly. And then the unload, so it looks 90% like the track is essentially Disneyland's in California. Pretty darn close. And then we exit out into the other. So as you exit out of this ride, I'll talk about it a little bit. You go to Boot Hill. You hear Melanie telling you to hurry back instead of Little Leota, but there is an area called Boot Hill, which is like this sort of interactive cemetery, like a really cool post-show that I feel like we don't get at any mansion, really. So stay tuned. I'll show some pictures of that. I've talked about it before. So when you go out, instead of going to your right to re-enter the park, go to your left to the Boot Hill Cemetery. And you'll find some cool references to the story. You'll find some Easter eggs and some maybe a little SEA secret there as well. All right, back to the informational segment. So what did you think of the story? Did we solve the mystery together? Wait, is Melanie following you home at the end of the attraction because instead of the hitchhiking ghosts, it's Melanie in your doom buggy? So is she like in my house right now? I feel like I can smell it. It smells like ghosts in here. Oh, no, don't worry. It's just my Magic Candle Company Haunted Scented Candle. That's right, this video was sponsored by the Magic Candle Company. If you could see at the beginning of the video, please go to themagiccandlecompany.com and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your entire purchase. You can make your house smell like Phantom Manor by purchasing the Haunted Candle, or the Haunted Hand Soap, or even the Haunted Scented Oil for your diffuser if you don't want any candles lingering around your house. They don't just have candles and hand soaps and wax melts though, they have bath products, they have hand sanitizer, everything you need to survive a day at the parks. Just don't throw the bath melts in the pirate water. Unless it's pirate water scented, yeah, you still probably get kicked out for that. So yeah, probably don't do that. Remember though, offer code OFFHAND15 and a very special thank you to the Magic Candle Company for sponsoring this video. Phantom Manor is one of the very few attractions at Disneyland Paris, then known as Euro Disneyland, that still stands today, even if it has gone through a couple of facelifts over the years. And while this ride-through may have been virtual, I feel like the memories that we have made along the way are very, very real. I'm just hoping Melanie actually did not follow me home from that, because I'd take a lot of explaining. Bonjour, thank you for watching this video on the virtual ride-through that I have been planning for a very, very long time. If you're a Patreon supporter, you know what I'm talking about, of Phantom Manor. Speaking of Patreon, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please head over to the link in the description to my Patreon page. Even just $1 will get you access to most of the perks. Just like the Patreon supporters this month got access to this video a couple days earlier than most people are seeing it now. So if that sounds cool to you, maybe you could just go head over there. Please be sure to follow me on my other social medias. You have Twitter, you got TikTok that I'm uploading to actually now, and then you also have Instagram. I'm at Offhand Disney on all of those places. And please be sure to give a like to this video if you enjoyed this virtual ride through and if you want to see more in the future. And if you're new around here, why not hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop in case any more do end up coming in the future. And last but certainly not least, please be sure to give a listen to the Foolish Mortals podcast that I co-host with my good friend Disney Dan. You will see it down also in the description down below. We are currently working on episode 5 as of when you see this, so be sure to stay tuned for that. It's going to be really cool, and I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. I know there's a small but dedicated fan base, and you guys are awesome. Again, truly, I thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do mean that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.